I'm David DiMuzio.
And I'm Steve Cook.
Welcome to Lock Lab, and this is what I have learned after having 5 hair transplant surgeries. And why have I had to have 5 hair transplant surgeries? Well, partly because of the first thing that I've learned, which is that there's no overestimating the importance of preventative hair loss medication. There's been a couple of times when I've gotten off of preventative hair loss medication, mainly meaning Finasteride, because I read things online and it scared me, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to play what I thought at the time was Russian roulette with my body. And unfortunately, I just wasn't very well educated, and I didn't understand that these medications are actually incredibly safe. The more studying that they do on them, the more they've realized that they are, quite safe when it comes to medication. Getting off of this medication is gonna set you back a couple of surgeries. I was literally have had to have a couple more surgeries than I would have had to because I got off of medication. The other thing is that oral minoxidil wasn't really a thing yet when I was having these surgeries, and now it is, and it works so much better than topical minoxidil. It's easier to use. It just systemically just works way better on your hair. It makes your hair look, my hair and everyone I know who's used it, looks so much significantly better than topical. And so now that we've got this combination pill with oral minoxidil and Finasteride and some biotin, it's just it's game over. For this. It's gonna save you so many hair transplants and make your hair look so good. I mean, there really is hope now at this point where no one needs to go bald, or at the end of that. The second thing,
I will never have enough hair. That is a great one. I love that one. Yeah, I mean, I was unhappy with my hair transplants. If you look at some of our videos, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, my hairline didn't look like this. I'm very pleased. I am blown away pleased. I never thought I was gonna make it to the finish line. I was there's a lot of guys that are my age, some even older and some a little younger, that just haven't been able to complete the job. And it's basically based on the donor hair, or that they were kind of beaten up by earlier technologies. I am super happy with my hair transplants, and I've had a few, not to mention more than a few. I can never have enough. I mean, I'm now greedy. I'm now I'm not in David's category, but I want to sit next to David and not say, oh my God, don't put me on camera because I have a horrible hairline. Now I can sit here with this young stud and say, look, man, my hairline's pretty good too, and I want more. So that's kind of how it works. I'm kind of making light of this, but the reality is, once you get hooked on something that makes you feel better and you look better, a hair transplant is not that bad of a day when you're having it done. It really isn't. And it is the #1 cosmetic procedure for men. So it's not that hard to do. It's not cheap, but it's not that hard to do. Of course, waiting for it to grow in and all that kind of stuff, but we're used to that now. We're veterans. So the more hair, the better. Sign me up.
Yeah, we'll never have enough hair. Number 3 is that I've learned that nobody really cares if you got a hair transplant. It kind of shocks me when I talk to guys that are trying to keep their hair transplant a secret.
Yeah.
We were in Dr. McGrath's office yesterday, and there was another doctor who was getting a hair transplant, and he just didn't want anyone to know. He was like, this cannot ever get out, that I've had this done. Obviously, we respect that, and I'm sure they stuck to that. But for myself, I've realized that nobody cares. I've never had any issues where I was on a date and someone was like, oh, you got a hair transplant? That's never been a thing. People are always actually quite interested and intrigued, and it's never been an issue for me dating wise. There's nobody in my family that makes fun of me for having had a hair transplant. It's just really not a thing. So nobody really cares what you do to your body in general, especially not something so kind of basic as just putting your hair back.
Especially when it's so natural. I think everybody is in fear of, having a bad hair transplant. And no matter what you tell them, and obviously they've done all this research and they've chose the right doctor, but I mean, we've looked at each other's hair all the time in these videos back and forth, and we've done other videos like this, and I mean, there's no way anyone could ever tell that's a hair transplant. So sharing it with others is just, paying it forward, just letting people know that you can achieve this success too.
Yep.
It's an incredible feeling that you had this kind of flaw. My favorite saying, or one of them, is Superman has kryptonite. So go get your hair transplant and share it with your friends. Why not?
The fourth thing is I did not realize how much looking younger would actually mean to me as I got older. As a guy, and when you're in your early 20s, you just kind of go, oh yeah, I'm just gonna age gracefully and get some wrinkles, maybe get a little white hair, whatever. You just don't realize that when you do get to 40, or 50, how much it's actually really nice to have people think that you're in your early 30s or in your 20s still. I mean, it's a nice feeling. I don't know, from vanity purposes or whatever, it's just nice to feel like you're not totally totally on the way out when it comes to age. So I really don't know anyone that's older in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that doesn't like it when people think that they look younger than they are.
No question about it. You know, my personal story, losing my hair at 18 years old, I went after guys that were accusing me of looking like I was 32. I mean, I was going to kill somebody. I was not liking life. And the hair transplant that I had done recently by Dr. McGrath, literally, in my opinion, and I'm tough on myself, at least I don't look older than my age anymore. I mean, that's all I care about. So if you're someone out there that wants to look 10 years younger and all that, I mean, I think David looks fantastic and his hairline looks like anybody 20, but that's just my opinion. But that's not me. I'm just not looking to look older. And so if we do the math, right? If I look 32 when I was 19 and now I'm like, and I look like an age, I'm pretty happy. So yeah, strong hairlines and age are not, what's that called? An oxymoron. They're not supposed to be used in the same sentence. As you age, you're going to get thinner and you're going to lose your hairline. So that's where a hair transplant comes in, and going back, constantly going back to keeping the rest of the hair with the oral minoxidil and the oral finasteride from Lock Lab and doing the hair transplant in the hairline is a home run.
And the fifth thing is that I've realized that almost everyone looks better with a hairline. So after I got my first hair transplant, I actually don't think my hair looked very good. You know, it just, the hairline wasn't like amazing. The hair was quite thin after the first hair transplant. But even with those facts, still going from having a really awful hairline or very recessed hairline to having just like a non-recessed hairline, even if it wasn't a great looking one and was still quite thin from just this one hair transplant, I know that I looked younger and I looked much better. And I remember walking with this girl that I'd gone on a date with, and I'd gone out with her maybe like a year before, and I was really into her. It just kind of didn't work out or didn't go anywhere. And then we went out on this date like a year or so later after I'd gotten my first hair transplant, and we're walking together. I thought, I wonder if she like notices my hair transplant. And I said to her, hey, do you notice anything different about me now? And she just goes, yeah, you look way better now. Like, that's it. She didn't know that it was a hair transplant or anything like that. She just noticed that I looked much better. And just because of that change of a hairline, I looked much younger and more my age. And so I think that's an important thing for you guys to know, is that you really can succeed and really can look way better with a hairline. And that, like, it's probably gonna make a huge difference